Don't chase all the things of this world. And it's really easy to do. You need the new car, you need the new watch, you need the new phone. There's always something new. And as soon as you get it, it's old and you need something new again. Like I was that guy. And I'm just telling you, those things don't last. That's why there's always something new. Chase the eternal rock of Jesus. Chase Jesus. Welcome to the New Path, New You podcast. My name is Ron Cool. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's a kind of a cool episode for me. It was something that actually my 7-year-old daughter gave me the inspiration for this. And I'll have to tell you the story a little bit. So Phelan, she's a little prayer warrior. I mean, all my kids are chasing after God really, really well. And I just attribute to that on how my wife and I are chasing God. So then we had this event at church. It was for Vision Sunday, and there was a select few kids up on the stage, and my daughter was one of them. And she was up there for 2 services, and during those services, she was writing notes and taking notes. And she's 7. She's 7 years old. She's taking notes for what the pastor was talking about. She wrote a beautiful little prayer to Jesus, which I'm not going to write or I'm not going to say on the show, but it was beautiful. But the other piece that I will share on the show was the inspiration for this show, and it was chase Jesus, not fame. That's a 7-year-old. Man, I wish I knew that when I was 7, and I wish I lived my life that way when I was 7. And then, as she was going over the notes, she wrote NPNY. And I was like, what's that? And she goes, New Path, New You, Daddy. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing that she was able to correlate this show to chasing Jesus. And I was like, wow, that was powerful for me as her father. But, I sat there and I watched, my wife was up there with her, and just the glow on my wife's face. And I'll post it on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, head over there. It's R Cool Junior, and you'll see the picture I'm talking about, and the quote card that was inspired by Phelan. It was such a beautiful moment, and you'll see the sign that she was holding about how Jesus is her friend, and it was something that she came up with that she wanted to tell everyone at church. And so I thought that was pretty powerful of a statement. But I want to hang on the, chasing Jesus and not fame. And it kind of led me to this question on, what are you chasing? And what am I chasing? What are you pursuing in life right now? So I'm gonna ask you to just kind of take a moment, think about that. Like, what are you chasing? Does it have an eternal impact? Does it have a kingdom impact? Is it something that's going to fade away? Is it going to be something that you later will regret chasing after? Are you being fooled into chasing after something that you probably shouldn't be chasing after? So think about that. And then think about if you changed all of that chasing, all of that focus, and chased God, how you chased those things. What kind of impact would that have on you, your personal growth, your family, your marriage, everything that you're struggling with? If you chased God, what impact would it have on those other things? It's amazing when we started chasing God really hard, how much things have changed. Doesn't make, like, I need you to understand, it didn't make it easier. It just changed. harder to explain, but it didn't just go, oh, we're chasing God, so everything's just a piece of cake now. No, that's not how it went. You're going to have trials. But it had an amazing impact on our growth. And it's a noticeable impact when people are looking at you and say, like, you've changed. And before I would have craved that the people pleasing thing. And I've talked about that before on the show, so that's nothing new. But God changed that. Like I'm seeking his approval, God's approval, and that's it. And I'm not saying it's not a struggle. I'm not saying I don't fall back into it. I'm just saying that's my focus. And I'm going to chase God and do everything I can to please him. And it's amazing how much everything else kind of just works itself out. So, by chasing God, what kind of impact do you think it would have on you, your family, your marriage, and your personal growth? I think if you chase, the last episode I talked about chasing God together as a married couple and being unified in that relationship with a shared pursuit of God. It draws you and your wife closer to each other and God at the same time. So if you're chasing God and you're showing your wife how to chase God and your kids are starting to see how they're chasing God, remember that triangle? Like everyone moves up to the top towards God. So then everyone becomes closer knit family and you're more unified in your relationships. And when there's unity, we've talked about this multiple times on the show, that's where the blessing comes. That's where the blessing comes. Then, once you're chasing God, explore the idea of setting God-sized goals where only God could do it. Only God. And then you have to rely on God and trusting God to do it. Say, okay, God, we're chasing you. This is what I believe you want us to do. And we're going to step out into this unknown world. We're going to step out into this X, Y, and Z. And we're going to believe all of these things, these God-sized goals that only you can do. Rach and I feel we're in this season of preparation, which is different than what we've been in. We're not sure exactly what we're preparing for, but we're preparing and we're trusting God to do something God can only do. And this time we get to share it with our family. We get to share this God could only do moment with our kids. And we're bringing them along. We're talking about it. We're praying about it. And it's going to be something where we're going to look back and go, see, God showed up because we were unified and we were all chasing him together. So we have to have practical tools and intentional living around all of this and aligned goals. So you can't just make a goal up. You have to talk about it with your wife, talk about it with God, make sure it all lines up, and then create a purpose around God's word. And what is God telling you? And then do it. And then do it. Find your small wins every single day and show gratitude to God. And everyday pursuits. Like really find the meaning in these little moments and where God is showing up and how he's showing up. But slow down to notice them. Slow down to notice them. I think back when I was working so hard and I was just going, there was never a time for me to be grateful and show God and thank God for everything he was doing. And I think we get fooled into just saying, oh, I did this all myself. Maybe you used God's gifts to do it, but it was still God helping you. So make sure you're having the time and space dedicated to thank God for everything he's doing in your life and journal about it. That was something that changed for me. I started journaling. Like I didn't normally journal, but Rach and I started journaling like I think 4 years ago. And we've completed so many notebooks. It's unreal how much we've journaled, and we've gone back and looked back at some of the things because it's been referenced in a couple notes. We're like, oh, wait a second, I wrote about that before. And it's amazing to actually go back to the notes you were at, because you'll remember the mindset you were in. And if you remember the mindset you were in, you will start seeing how God has been working and changing your mindset along the way. So have meaningful living, and your relationships will increase, and your ability to love one another increases. Your ability to look over the things that drive you nuts, especially, bedtime. We've talked about that. But what I'm telling you is really chase God. Don't chase all the things of this world. And it's really easy to do. You need the new car, you need the new watch, you need the new phone. There's always something new. And as soon as you get it, it's old and you need something new again. Like I was that guy. And I'm just telling you, those things don't last. That's why there's always something new. Chase the eternal rock of Jesus. Chase Jesus. And that is all you need. Chase Jesus. Have the people you love chase Jesus with you. It changes generations. It changes everything that they're going to teach their children. Chase Jesus together. Express gratitude for everything that God is doing. I'm going to express gratitude for you listening to the show today. I thank you for doing that. I'm excited to see what God is going to do in your life and your transformation. And if the show resonates with you, share it with a friend. Would love to get it to someone that needs to hear this today. And if you look in my Instagram, you'll see that I spoke on a summit called Born to Lead, and it's free, and it helps you lead like Jesus. So you can go grab a free ticket, and I encourage you to head over to Instagram and grab that free ticket. The ticket's information is in the show notes as well. It's called Born to Lead, and it was a great conversation. But there's a couple other pastors on this summit, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it's for somebody that's listening today. So head over there, grab your free ticket, and just see what God's trying to tell you to do. I can't wait to see you on your new path for a new you.